Good evening and welcome to the Dollar Dogs and Beer podcast. I am your host, Andrew, and we are all back this week. Jason wasn't feeling so hot last week, so he decided to skip out on us, but we're happy he's back. You feeling a little better tonight, bud?
Oh, yeah. It's one where I always get sick after I fly, and no different this time either. But we're back, rested up, ready to go. Too bad I couldn't sleep through the entire series for the Phillies in New York against the Mets last week. But we'll get to that later.
That wasn't that was not a great series for you guys, to say the least.
No.
Yeah. Joe, how you holding up? I know the weekend series definitely was not what you were hoping for.
Yeah, we'll just leave it there. More on that later, I guess. But overall, can't complain. Hanging in there and hoping things, turn the corner.
Yeah. Hey, if we can go from an 0-7 start to almost back to 500 by the end of the month, anything can happen. So, Joe, what are you drinking tonight?
Well, there's a little bit of Devin Williams in there, but it's mostly Diet Mountain Dew because I have to kind of try to stay level this week after the weekend and all that business. So
that's fair. Jason, How about you?
I'm going with one of my favorites and a classic for me now, the Cheerwine Ale from Noda Brewing Company. Still delicious as always.
Very nice. It's feeling summery out today. I was planting some flowers in the beds at the pharmacy, so I decided to go a little summery. Go with a good old Angry Orchard, the classic crisp apple tonight for me. I must say, I do like the green apple if you can find it anywhere. You just can't find it in pounder cans anywhere that I've looked.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna roll it off with we're gonna start with fans need to stop being idiots. And I know that's hard because fans often feel because they paid for a ticket that they're entitled to be idiots. And that's just not true. So we're going to start with Tommy Pham from last week here. Let me play the video here. This was shared. Is that the right one? Nope, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Wrong tab, Andrew. Hold on a second. So this was shared originally from, I think this was from John Boy, if I remember correctly. Where is it? Shoot, hold on. Sorry, I have too many Chrome tabs open right now. Anyway, I'll play it in a minute. But basically what happened, Tommy Pham, when the Pirates were out in Anaheim, Tommy Pham was interfered with by fans, and it didn't affect the play. Darno was going to get the double on the play anyway, but it's just another case of fans need to keep their hands to themselves. It's ridiculous that they don't. Here it is. And let me get the audio pulled up too.
First hit, it came in the fifth. So Tommy Pham goes in the corner to field it. He cuts it off, stops, looks at a fan, and throws it in. And we were like, what the heck happened? Well, you can see this fan, what are you doing? Reached out and touched Tommy Pham. Not a great idea. So Pham goes back to his position, looks at the fan and says, hey, you were a little bit of a jerk off. And then later on kind of said, hey, you want to come here? You want to come talk to me over here? Could the fan have picked a worse person to reach out and touch than Tommy Pham?
Probably not. I was trying to think of some other guys. This is the guy who, after the other day when they had their benches clearing incident against the Nationals, right? On his Instagram stories, just posted a picture of his assault rifle. So, I wouldn't mess with old Tommy Pham. He's been stabbed before as well, and he's a different cat. Tommy, love you, man. I want to be on your good.
So, yeah, obviously not the best message to send, sharing a picture of your assault rifle after a benches clearing brawl. I mean, we know Tommy Pham has not always made great personal choices, but in this case, Tommy Pham's not wrong. Fans need to keep we had it 2 weeks ago with Trout when you had the fan grab his glove, which looked eerily reminiscent of the World Series last year when a couple of Yankees fans grabbed Mookie Betts' glove rip the ball out. Now, in the World Series, they called it correctly for fan interference. They did not call anything on Trout. They didn't call anything because getting hit in the back with a glove didn't affect the play at all. If that didn't happen, d'Arnaud was still going to get a double. I have no issue with the umpires not doing anything about the play. But security should have been right down there to pull that fan out. That fan should have been immediately thrown out of the game, should have been banned from MLB stadiums. The fact that the Yankees didn't do that immediately after the game, after the World Series, was utterly ridiculous. The Mike Trout thing, I mean, it was a kid. I'm okay with them not throwing the kid out. And Mike Trout actually met with the kid after the game, took some pictures, gave him some autographs. You can't make it like a cut and blank rule. If you touch a player, you're automatically thrown out and banned. You have to look at the circumstances. But in this case,
was it a kid though? Yes. I didn't think it was a kid. I thought it was one where it was the ball was actually in the stands when the fans started going for the ball, things like that. But the guy met with Trout met with the guy and his kid.
Okay, but either way,
either way, and the reason that it was different was the Mookie Betts thing. The ball was in the field of play, and the fan was reaching over. But yeah, still though, you have to. You can't be touching the players while they're out there on the field of play. Like again, if they lean in to the stands or something like that, and there's incidental contact, which is going to happen, whatever. But if a player is reaching over to pick up a ball, you don't just pat them on the back.
Yeah. First of all, why is the outfield wall low enough there that a fan could conceivably reach over and touch a player? I don't understand the stadium design there. That's kind of foolish in my opinion. Why does this keep happening? Like, come on, baseball fans. Something like this seems to happen every freaking year. Why does this have to? Why do we get pissed off about this? Literally every year we've done this show about fans interfering with the game as it's going on. Joe, what do you think?
Well, I mean, fan is short for fanatic, so let's remember that. with a lot of fans going to games, that's one part of it. I think if anybody knows anything about fans interfering with the play, it's Cub fan. Like, have we not learned anything from Steve Bartman, guys? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, just stop doing it.
Yeah,
it's one thing. Like, if you're, if they're clearly not making an attempt to get there to make a play. Okay, fine. But when they're clearly attempting to make the play, leave them alone. It's really not that hard.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that there's going to be anything they can do from a rules standpoint. I mean, the only thing you can really do if you wanted to punish the fans is go, all right, you're not getting foul balls anymore. We're going to put a net up.
Yeah.
I mean, which ruins the experience for the fan, but at the same time, protects the players, keeps them from shenanigans at least a little bit. So I don't know exactly what the answer is, but the bottom line is fans need to just stop going for, the moment they can put up on Snapchat later or whatever it is, and trying to, get a souvenir all the time. It's just, we've all been to plenty of baseball games. You're not always going to be in a position to get anything.
Right.
More often than not, you're not going to be in position to get anything.
No. So, I mean, it's just, it's one of the things that if the league or individual teams start coming up with, hard and fast rules about it, then that's really the only way it'll change.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's come to that, I think.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I mean, fans should not be touching players, period, end of discussion. I mean, that should be an absolute no-go. I mean, I remember, every year you see some idiot jump down from the stands and run across the field. It happens every year in pretty much every sport. You shouldn't have to have NFL linebackers tackling fans to get them off the field, like we've seen in those NFL bloopers. How many times? To be honest, let's be real. Those linebackers love it when fans come on the field because they'd like nothing more than to lay somebody out and not get a penalty for an illegal helmet-to-helmet hit when they forgot to put a pillow underneath the quarterback when they sacked them. So, it's let's hope, at least in this case, that they do something about that fan and make sure that does not happen again. If there's extra security close to that section from the field side, that would be good. So that way the player can just motion and then they can get them out faster.
And I mean, and the thing with this here is, I don't think putting up a netting, I don't think putting netting around the field or in the lowest areas is the right move here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a matter of coming down harshly on fans that do it, to kind of set that example. Like the teams, if this was in Los Angeles, you need to have, now Tommy Pham is with the Pirates. What was it, the Angels or was it the Dodgers?
The Angels.
It was the Angels. Okay, so the Angels need to take action against that fan.
Yes.
To send the message to other Angels fans, hey, you do this is what's going to happen to you. And maybe MLB should institute a fan policy like that. There's already the policies of, if you come onto the field or if you interfere with a ball in play, then there's ejection and possible prosecution. Have something else for touching players that are actively in the field of play. So I think that they need to come down harshly on fans that intentionally do this. And like the fan that with Mike Trout, nothing should have really happened to him because the ball was out of the field of play. And honestly, if you look at the replays, there's immediate oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to type of thing, So as long as the ball is out of the field of play, fine.
Yeah, and it's true. There's it's a lot different when you see remorse versus those two idiots in Yankee Stadium that were cheering and celebrating what they just did, even though the umpires correctly ruled fan interference and called the batter out.
Yep.
And
the only other solution you have is if you just that very first row against the wall just becomes team staff or player family that knows they're not going to do that shit. Or you just block off the seats entirely.
Yeah. They hate losing that ticket revenue, but if that's what it takes.
Yeah.
So, and then yesterday, because again, fans are idiots. Jarron Duran, he was involved in an incident with the fan in the middle of the seventh inning. It occurred after the top of the inning. A fan initially yelled at Duran as he was running back to Boston's dugout after a flyout. After the game, he intimated that the fan's comment was a reference to his suicide attempt he had back in 2022, which he opened up about in the clubhouse a year with the Red Sox. It's an 8-part docuseries about the 2024 Red Sox that came out earlier this year. I haven't seen the whole thing yet, but from what I've seen, it's really good. I do recommend it. The umpire told Duran that the incident would be handled after the inning. He stood at the top of the dugout staring down the fan. After Devers struck out to end the inning, he left the dugout to engage the fan, which you got to be careful doing that. Duran said, quote, he said something inappropriate, but I'm happy that security handled it. Security was aware of it and took care of it for me. The Guardians afterwards said we're aware of the situation that took place during today's game between a fan and one of the Red Sox players that violated our fan conduct policy. We recognize the gravity of the behavior at issue here and take very seriously conduct of this nature. We apologize to the Red Sox organization. The player involved, the fans in the area are addressing the situation. We have identified the fan in question. We'll work with Major League Baseball regarding next steps, hopefully a ban. And we strive to provide the best experience to visiting players and fans, and that fell short today. So first of all, the Guardians came right out immediately after the game and addressed it. That's absolutely the right thing to do. Most of the Red Sox players actually came out of the dugout to support Duran. Numerous fans that were in the section pointed out to the fan who made the comment. He ran for it, but it helped security identify him quicker and get him apprehended and removed from the game. So in this case, the Guardians did everything exactly right. They had security there quickly. The fan was removed. The team apologized because you can't expect the team to be able to control the fans. Obviously, fans are going to say stupid stuff. So excellent handling by the Guardians organization on that one. And people that take cracks at people that had suicide attempts, I have absolutely no respect for people like that. You are the scum of the earth. If you're trying to bring and dredge up things from somebody when they are at one of the lowest points, or probably the lowest point they've ever been in their life, and you try to dredge that back up, that's not being a fan and heckling an opposing player. That's being an asshole.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And
I think, again, it's one where, no matter who you are, where you are, what you're doing, that's not appropriate anytime.
No.
Like, I don't understand how people feel as though it's okay for them to say things like that. So, again, I hope that the Guardians, they clearly know who the fan is. I would love to see something to the effect of a ban, season tickets revoked, things like that, because again, they have facial recognition now too. So even if he got out of that, they probably still would have been able to find him.
Oh yeah.
So.
And it's always bad when the rest of the section turns on you and points you out to get you caught. You've crossed a line when that happens. Yeah. I mean, I've seen it in Philadelphia before, and we all know Philadelphia fans, especially against rivalries, can get really feisty. But there are lines that if you get to that point, everybody else will turn against you and get rid of you because they don't want you there ruining their good time.
Yeah.
So, again, props to the Guardians for appropriately handling that. I'm very happy to see that. All right, now let's give the fans a break, and let's go into a little bit of a comedy thing here. Tyler Glasnow got hurt again. I know. I was shocked too, guys. Absolutely shocked. Let's remember Glasnow just last year said prioritizing velocity is worth the injury risk. The actual quote, "I think the decision of throwing hard and getting hurt is going to win every time." This is the second straight start he has left early. Now, the last start he left early was because of dehydration and cramping. It was not a shoulder issue the first time, but still. Dave Roberts said afterwards, Nielsen is certainly a possibility. We've got to get him to a place where we feel and he feels that when he takes the mound, he can go out there and be the guy he's capable of being. He actually, because of the dehydration the last start, he actually had an IV yesterday to make sure he was well hydrated, so it was definitely not a cramping problem this time. Glasnow said, quote, "I'm just obsessed with trying to figure out what's going on. It's been like this for a few years, and I'm trying to find a way to stay healthy, and I'll try to do whatever, but maybe not trying to go max velo all the time, every time. I just don't really have an answer right now, and I think that's the most frustrating thing. It's not like a lack of trying." You sure, buddy? It's just kind of getting exhausting at this point. I know it's probably exhausting for a lot of people, for me especially, but like I feel bad for my teammates. I feel bad for people watching. It's a very frustrating situation for me. It's hard. Just making a lot of changes, trying to figure out a way to stay healthy. I think some of the changes led to other things kind of taking over. And at this point, I'm just trying to figure out what to do. It's just extremely frustrating. Tyler, do you know it's extremely frustrating when your team has to keep picking you up because you clearly prioritize throwing as hard as you can, because that one start where you throw as hard as you can and blow out your arm is more important than you being there for your team the entire season? With, let's be real, a Dodgers team that's pitching staff hasn't been able to stay healthy very well this year or last year. They've got great pitchers. They've got great depth, and they keep getting hurt. But come on. Joe, go ahead.
Don't understand what he's looking for answers on. I mean, it's pretty obvious what's going on here. I don't. There's some pitchers where you're like, they're just unlucky. That's not the case with him. He's just clearly unlucky and stupid at the same time, and I don't understand that. And I mean, couldn't happen to a worse team. I feel bad for his teammates too, but I think, there needs to be some time for some really strong self-reflection for Mr. Glasnow. That's for dang sure.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. You just last year came out and said velo's more important than the risk of getting injured. Did he think people would forget about that? What do you think, Jason?
I mean, coming from a guy who's the bets each year for him to get hurt are high because that's all he does is get hurt each year. I mean, it's a bold statement there, Tyler. So, yeah, I don't feel any sympathy for him because, again, like, you can't fix stupid.
Last year was the most starts he's ever made in a season. Guess how many starts he made?
I was going to say, and how many? I was going to say 15.
No, it's a little higher.
Okay.
22. He threw the most innings he has ever thrown in a season last year. Guess how many of that was?
22 starts.
140, maybe.
You're close. You're a little high.
I was gonna say like 133.
134.
Oh,
Buddy, you don't throw enough to ever be complaining about, I'm so frustrated, I always get hurt. Shut up. Like, good God, dude.
yeah.
I think the only year he didn't get hurt was 2020 because it was a 60-game season. Because he made 11 starts. So, yeah, he probably didn't miss a start there, but that was a shortened season, buddy. You can't make it through a long season. You've shown that for your entire career, whether you were with Pittsburgh, Tampa, or Los Angeles. It's been pretty damn consistent.
Yeah.
The Mike Trout of pitching.
Yeah, except Mike Trout's actually good.
Well, okay, fine, but from an injury standpoint, at least.
Yeah. You look at his advanced stats, he's never gone higher than 2.5 WAR in a season. He's had times where his strikeout ratios got upwards of 38%. He had 38.5% back in 22, but he's usually high 20s, low 30s for strikeout percentage. He's a good pitcher. He's not. Until he can prove that he can stay healthy, he should never be considered an elite pitcher. So I know. We were all absolutely shocked and flummoxed when that happened. Again. All right, Jason, it's time for the first of your official down on the farm of the year. What do you got?
Yes.
I've been seeing a lot of clips this year from minor league baseball, and I'm sure you got something good for us.
Oh, there's so many good things going around this year in minor league baseball. The season only started within the last few weeks. So overall, there's a couple things that are kind of standing out to me. One is the talent that appears to be in the Marlins system. Because I was looking it up and I knew that the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, the AAA for the Phillies team, they have been on fire lately. And I pulled up because I'm like, oh, they're probably leading the International League or their division or whatever, and let's see what they're doing. And they're 19-8. Okay, they're still 2 games back of the Marlins AAA affiliate, who's at 21-6. Which I believe is it's the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Again, amazing name. Love this. So really crazy things happening to start. So I'm really excited to see what happens with the prospects that are down all across the farm system to see who comes up. And a couple key things from this past week that I want to bring up would be the batter of the week. This is a guy that you need to keep an eye on because he's probably coming up at some point this year or be used as trade bait. And that's Marcelo Mayer of the Worcester Red Sox, the AAA affiliate for Boston. Last week, he went 9 for 20, which is a .450 batting average, had 3 home runs and 12 RBI. And he's tearing the cover off the ball. He's crushing it. So the Red Sox are already a solid team. If they can find a place for him, because I know their infield can be fairly set right now, he's going to be a very, very good prospect coming up for them. And then the pitcher this past week was a little crazy. I was looking through some, and there were a lot of pitchers this past week who had 1 or 2 games started, didn't give up any hits, things like that. So I settled on Jacob. This is going to be, I'm going to Andrew this name up. But it's Misarowski, I believe, is the closest pronunciation I can make for it, from the Nashville Sounds, AAA for the Brewers. And started 2 games, went 11 innings, 6 in one, 5 in the other. Only 4 hits, 1 walk, but 17 strikeouts.
Jesus.
And the weird thing about this, he did not get any wins in either of those 2 games. He also did not take a loss. But he gave up no runs through 11 innings and did not get a win either time. So I'm gonna throw Jacob a bone here and give him my pitcher of the week.
Yeah, dude, that's fantastic. What an outing.
Yeah. So yeah, down the farm, we're back. I know the Atlantic League just started this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm excited to see how everybody develops over the course of this year and see who comes up and makes their debut.
So you mentioned Lehigh Valley. Lehigh Valley always does some great theme nights. They announced earlier on May 10th they are going to be the Lehigh Valley Steelworkers. Here are the hats and the jerseys and shirts they have for that. Guys, that looks really good.
I'll let you know once it loads.
No, it did not load on there. There it is. Yeah.
No, it's there now.
That's sharp. That really is.
Those are solid.
Yeah.
Those are very solid.
Hey, let's be real. I mean, minor league teams always do a good job, but Lehigh Valley really has, for the last couple of years, really gone above and beyond compared to a lot of the the Mummers, the Corgis, the Scrapple. Oh man, it's
And
ridiculous how much Iron Pigs gear that I'm collecting, and none of it's Iron Pigs.
well, and the thing is, a lot of teams are starting to do things like that in the minor leagues, and I should have been making a list of these because it's just absolutely amazing. Oh, here's a new one just from 9 hours ago. Asheville, the Asheville Tourists are going to play a game with a nod to the rare Eastern Hellbender salamander, and they are going to be called the Asheville Snot Otters.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Like, I think each week now, I'm just gonna make sure that I bring up any kind of name changes or name nights that are happening, because it's absolutely incredible what they've been coming up with this year. I know one of the Mets affiliates is going to be the Spicy Meatballs at some point this year. Yeah, I just absolutely love the names and the logos that teams are coming up with. I'm gonna see if I can find another one quickly here, but here we go. What's this one? Lansing is going to be, so the Lansing Lugnuts are going to become the Olive Burgers for a little bit.
Oh, I like that logo. I like that.
Let's see. I'll give you one more before we move on. And then I'll do some more digging and bring up some names next week. But let's see. Oh, who did we have here? Okay. This one's not going to be my favorite, but it's okay. The Augusta Green Jackets, love that name.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing name, reference to the Masters, are going to become the Augusta Azaleas for a pair of games because they're going to honor the visually stunning flower often seen at the Masters. So they wore that, and that was April 10th. So that was right at Masters time. So
that's awesome.
So there we go for that.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that logo.
And I feel like the top of the flower was reminiscent of something there, but so yeah, I don't want to end on just the azaleas. I'm gonna see what I can find here. I'm gonna hijack this. Oh, that's a good one. Let me just double check. Oh, who are you? Okay, yeah, this is a good one. So New Hampshire, were they the Rock Cats? Fisher Cats? Fisher Cats.
Yeah.
Double A for the Blue Jays.
Mm-hmm.
The New Hampshire Space Potatoes. Look at that logo. Look at that logo.
That's pretty wild. That is wild.
So,
That's amazing.
Yeah, remind me later this week, guys, because I am just gonna look through some of these old things here and just find some good ones for you.
And we'll make you can make like a Google slideshow, share it with me, and I'll screen share it so you don't have to use your phone.
Oh, the Wisconsin frozen pizzas. Great on the field, cooks in 9 innings, 100% real cheese. High A team of the Milwaukee Brewers. And again, look at that.
The
like
frozen pizzas.
I think aside from developing prospects, these alternative identities that teams are coming up with just make me so happy. I love them. The Hickory Goat Carts for the single A team of the Texas Rangers. Like, I will put together a whole list of things for you all for next week, and we will just down the farm next week. I won't worry about the hitter or pitcher of the week unless there's something that really stands out. But we're just going to enjoy some alternative identities next week.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I can't wait already. Now, for alternative identities that maybe didn't go so well, just earlier this evening, the White Sox have released City Connects 2.0, inspired by the Chicago Bulls, because apparently we can't be original anymore. So, you can see they've got the South Side, they've got the they've got the winged foot logo. Basically stole the Bulls red and black pinstripes because, Jerry Reinsdorf's the owner. So, he said it was fine. This is probably among the least original City Connect jerseys that have ever been made. And it's particularly disappointing because the White Sox already had a really good City Connect. I thought it was one of the better ones that came out of the first round of City Connects. And then, is there nothing else in the south side of Chicago for them to identify with other than the Bulls because they share an owner? Like, is that it? It's either Gothic or nothing? Joe, enlighten me. You've been to the city way more than I have.
I mean, there's two ways of looking at this. I mean, they obviously can't, they're not going to highlight any of the gang violence that happens there. And any of those things, and maybe they're just trying to tap into the magic of the Bulls, because when they broke out the pinstripes, when the Bulls added that to their uniform, that's when they went 72-10. So
yeah,
there's some, maybe they're just trying to create some luck on the South Side. I mean, listen, it's definitely not better than the other one. There are a couple of features on it that I'm like, if you didn't do that or you didn't do that, I'm actually not disappointed in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not much to write home about, and it's not something I'd probably be buying, merch for to wear. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think for me,
I'm underwhelmed.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's the fact that they're not even paying tribute to the city unless they're calling the Bulls the city because of their history. But I mean, even the Bulls haven't been anything really in the last decade or two. So, I mean,
yeah,
I guess it just boggles my mind that they're like City Connect jersey, but they're just basically promoting a different sports team in the city instead of going to like Chicago roots.
Let's see. The last championship for the Bulls was 98. The last division title was 2012.
You have to look up when their last championship was.
No, I knew the championship. I didn't know the last. I didn't know the last division title.
I'm like, wait a minute here. Like,
yeah,
you could have just said pretty much most years in the 90s, and you probably would have been correct as long as it wasn't like 99, 2000, and above. Like all you had to do was
94, 95 when Mike was playing baseball.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you had essentially a 6-year window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like they've won 2 division titles since Michael left. Like that. Yeah, they had one of the greatest decades a sports team has ever seen. Like nothing to let's not take anything away from that, but this is what we're going to represent. Like, this is how we're going to represent Chicago. This is our connection to the city. Is we're going to leave our own sport because we suck, which, I mean, yeah, after last year, they really don't have anything personally to celebrate other than 125 years this year. But like that's what we come up with. I know Nike's really been kind of mailing it in with this second round of City Connects, but damn, that's lazy. That's so lazy to just you steal another team's. It's it'd also be one thing maybe if the Bulls had gone defunct, like if the team shut down and was gone, or they moved and relocated somewhere else, then maybe you can make it. But even still, you're crossing sports. It doesn't work. Sorry. It's a pity.
In the Bulls' defense, they had more division titles than Michaels had as an owner or a GM. So.
Well, yeah, there is that. There is that.
Identity theft is not a joke, Jim.
Yeah, it's
any Office fans there, but
yeah. Wow. All right, and on that note, guys, April's almost done. So, what are some thoughts you guys have had in the first month of the season? Good, bad, surprises. Jason, since you haven't really been on much, I'll let you take first hack at it.
Yeah. Do you want me to just do good, just do bad, just do surprises, or just what I have?
Yeah, give us something.
Cool. So the good, which is also bad, is the New York Mets. They are the best record in baseball. They won their 20th game today. So they're the first team to 20 wins. But I would like to point out the Phillies were the first to like 10, 20, 30, 40, etc. last year, and look what happened. But so the good, unfortunately for us, is the Mets. The good, the Cubbies. I know they had a rough weekend, but they have been solid overall. They had a gauntlet to start this season.
Yeah.
The fact that they got out of it with that record that they have is fantastic. Additionally, for the good, some of the younger players. Some players are starting to really kind of show up a little bit. We'll kind of get to that a little bit with some from the hot list, but the bad, which I guess would be normal right now, would be the White Sox and the Rockies. The bad also, I would actually say the Juan Soto deal, the way that's looking right now, because Soto hasn't been doing anything. The bad, Aaron Nola, Jordan Romano. I would much rather have Ray Romano pitch instead of Jordan, although he did well last night. I will give him his dues. He lowered his ERA from like 100 down to 20. So, but so those are some of the bad things at the moment. The bad, still the umpires. We have had two near perfect or perfect called games, but there are if only there were some kind of system that would allow officials to review a replay to see if a ball hit the ground or not. If only there was some kind of camera or feature that would let us, slow something down to look at it. If only there was a system that was like the tennis VAR that would let a team or a player determine if a pitch was actually a strike or a ball. I mean, I really hope at some point we have some kind of system like this based off of technology. So this is good. This has turned into a mini rant. I'm sure you guys are loving this.
I'm enjoying it.
And then the surprises, the Braves starting 0-7.
I wasn't
Um,
surprised by that, dude. I said ahead of time I could see Atlanta going anywhere from 7-0 to 0-7 when they opened with 4 in San Diego and 4 at the Dodgers. I
then
literally
the
said,
surprise starting like 1-10 or 1-12 because they lost 2 or got swept by the Marlins after that.
no, they split the Marlins and the third game got postponed. Nice try.
Okay.
Nice
But
try.
anyway, the Braves starting as bad as they have been, and really they only found their groove within the last week. Before then, they were losing games and series that they shouldn't have lost. Other surprises for me, honestly, and it's a good yet also a bad thing again for us, the Mets starting rotation. The Mets starting rotation has been pretty spectacular to start the season. Like until maybe over the last few days, they didn't even get their starters weren't even giving up any home runs. So, other surprises, the fact that Joe hasn't like strangled Andrew through the screen yet. No, I think those are the main surprises. I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't mind the Rockies' old license plate City Connects, but I do kind of dig the new neon Taco Bell style City Connects. You know, I mean, just like Taco Bell, the Rockies are like shit after they play. So, yeah, I will end it at that.
All right, Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned the Cubs, just a few numbers there. They haven't played a single game against the Central, which is part of the reason I'm wearing this shirt tonight. The schedule is just stupid. They went 11-9 against the West in the first month against the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Diamondbacks. The Cubs offense, 170 plus runs already in the first month as a team. They've already topped 35 homers and 40 stolen bases already as a club. They have 5 players with at least 5 homers. Kyle Tucker, obviously. Carson Kelly, Seiya, Michael Busch, and PCA. It's the first time the Cubs have had 5 guys do that before the end of April. The 2 other times they came close, 2019 was Javi, Wilson, Hayward, and Rizzo. And in 94, Leo Gomez, Ryan Sandberg, Scott Service, and Sammy Sosa. So pretty elite company there.
That's great.
And then, and I know it because I've already played Jason twice. Kyle Tucker is kicking ass.
That was a late round pickup for me too. Like that.
Yeah.
It feels like Kyle Tucker should have been extended already, you know?
If only there was a world where you had the money that you saved from getting rid of another outfielder. But Tucker's numbers, 20 walks, 25 runs, 25 RBIs, and 30 hits. Like insane offense, and that was my worry going into the season. So I mean,
I got him in the 9th round of our draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm surprised by that at all.
Yeah.
It's a 4-team league this year, man. Come on. There were great picks all the way through that draft.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think I was thinking more of Julio Rodriguez, who I took with my last pick. But yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned the Mets, like whatever. I mean, getting that deal was the best thing to ever happen to Alonso because he's been ridiculous. They finally have Alvarez and McNeil back, so they were doing all of this without those 2 guys, who look like they haven't lost a step if you look at the box score today.
Yeah.
it's insane. I'll be really interested to see with them how the Western Division affects them because they're going up against some teams that are a little bit stronger. With the Dodgers, obviously, Padres the way they're playing. And you mentioned it, Jason, but the Soto trade is finally paying off for the Nationals with some of their some of the production they've gotten from that, the return there finally making its way up. I think another, I guess, good. I think the Rays seem to be outperforming what a lot of people thought they would do. I mean, they're a spectacularly run organization, but so they always find a way to do something. But I don't know that people expected them to be in the thick of it at this point already. So that's the good, I guess. I think the bad is the Orioles. There's a lot to be concerned about here. Westberg and another guy are on the IL as of today now too. It's really disappointing for a core that has so much promise that it feels like they've been really, really struggling since their breakout year a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they made the playoffs last year, but it just feels like that massive high, and then it's kind of been kind of slowly going downhill for them. I don't know if it's long lasting by any means, but I think it's something definitely to be concerned about.
And it's not so much their offense either. It's the fact that their starting pitching is so decimated by injuries that the rotation is abysmal.
Yeah. If only there was a starter they didn't let go of in the offseason. That's certainly a bad thing. I think if the White Sox keep this pace, my prediction is going to be wrong, so that's a bad thing. With 7 wins in the first month, if they do that over, all 6 months, they're going to have 42 wins, and I said 39. So, White Sox, can you slow down, please? So there is that. I think the other thing is it just seems like those are most of the bad things, and the schedule obviously has just been stupid. We've kind of beaten that point to death, I think. I think the surprises. If you had Javi Baez in center field on your bingo card, good for you. I didn't. So I think I think people expected the Tigers to be good. I don't think they expected them to be this hot right off the jump. So that's a big surprise, I think, for a lot of people. I think also just how much of the AL West kind of seems like it's anyone's division at this point. No one's really super distanced themselves from the rest of the pack already. I know it's only a month, but that's been a division in the past where one team has clearly been, in the basement pretty early. It doesn't really feel that way this year. And then the last sort of, I guess,
you said the AL West, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I think with the NL West, obviously we talked about the Rockies and how poor they've been playing, but the fact that,
148 winning percentage.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Something has to change there.
They are almost 20 games under 500 already. They are 4-23 with a very nice -69 run differential.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the fact that the rest of that division is just so formidable is, I don't think people expected the Giants to necessarily, play as well as they've been playing so far.
I'm not necessarily surprised by the Giants, to be honest with you. I expected them to be one of the better teams in the NL West this year. All right, did I expect them to be ahead of the Dodgers? Not necessarily, but I'm not surprised the Giants are playing really well. They made smart signings this past offseason, and they were very strategic where they placed their money, and they've gotten some of the best value for the money that they've put out compared to anybody.
Yeah.
You might say they've done some intelligent spending.
Yeah. Something some GM in Chicago needs to figure out with all that money he saved trading an outfielder away to the Yankees. So it's been an interesting first month of the season. It really has. Couple players I want to highlight that have played really well, though. Joe, I just want to bounce off Javi Baez for a second. You didn't have him playing in the outfield on your bingo card. I didn't have him hitting 300 with less than 30 strikeouts for the first month of the season on my bingo card. He's hitting 301 and he's only struck out 19 times. That's in 23 games. He's under a strikeout a game right now. So we'll have to see if that pace holds, which I'm sure we're all pretty confident that it won't.
I hope that it does. I wish the best for him. I always liked him, but my goodness.
It'll be surprising if it does, because it's always he can always hit the ball if you leave it over the zone. He can't stop chasing that slider 2.5 feet off the plate. That's usually what gets him.
I'll make sure to keep you guys updated in a week and a half when I'm at a Tigers game at Comerica. So.
I'm excited for that. I can't wait to see the pictures. It's going to be so much fun for you, man.
Yeah.
All right, some players I want to highlight here. First, Pavin Smith. Pavin Smith has not had a great start to his career. He's been kind of injury plagued in the outset, but he has been looking really, really good for the Diamondbacks so far this year. He has a slash line coming into games today of 333, 465, 638. He's only struck out 25 times. He's walked 17 times. He's got 4 homers already. He's got 9 doubles. He's getting going. It's really, that he was he was the 7th overall pick back in 2017. So expectations have always been kind of like, is he ever going to get over this injury hump and get going? And he's looked really good so far. He's played solid defense for the Diamondbacks. His BABIP through Friday, 514. That's freaking incredible. His hard hit rate's at 49, almost 49%. I mean, he's had a really surprisingly good start to the year. It's nice to see. Tyler Mahle has come back and pitched really well. Through his first 5 starts with Texas, .68 ERA. Not too bad. Not too bad, especially for a guy that's not necessarily going to blow you away with his velocity. He's kind of like he's more of like a Greg Maddux kind of guy. His average fastball is 92, or actually a little bit less than that. I love seeing these guys that are the control experts that can still go out, throw wicked nasty stuff, and get the results. And yeah, I know I got to watch Greg Maddux pitch throughout his prime. So of course I'm of course biased to like that type of pitcher, but it's fun watching guys that can't, that don't blow you away with the radar gun and pitch really well. And I hope it keeps going, because it's fun to watch. Mitchell Parker, he's also been really good. He's another lower velocity guy with the Nationals so far. 3-1, a 1.39 ERA through 32 1/3. That's fantastic. And the Nationals have played good teams so far this year, and they're playing pretty well. When we did our NL East preview, I said, watch out for the Nationals. They're going to be sparky this year. They're not ready to make that jump this year. But give them another year or two. They've got a lot of good talent in the high minors that's ready to come up. And the Nationals will be a team that we're going to have to watch out for in the East over the next couple years, especially as the Braves, Phillies, and Mets start to age more, because the Nationals are primed and ready to jump.
The
Mets, their numbers they're a little slanted. Yeah, they're they're the first 20-win team. That's great. They're 12-1 at home. They're 8-8 on the road. So, yeah, great start at home, but they dropped 2 or 3 in Houston to open the year. They did take 2 or 3 from Miami. They did take 2 or 3 from the Athletics. They dropped 2 or 3 to the Twins, who the Braves swept. Make sense. And it took a ridiculous offensive output today to split with the Nationals in Washington. This is a team that has gotten really lucky with their early schedule to get front loaded with so many home games, and they've played fantastic at home. You can't. The only loss they've had at home was a 5-0 loss to Miami back on April 9th. So they are, they're give them credit where it's due. They are holding serve at home. They're not playing great on the road. So as the season gets longer, I'm really curious to see how that trend's going to continue. Let's see. Jason got a great rant in about umpires and why we're not using VAR. I'm tired of the schedule. I've made that rant several times. I'm not going to beat that dead horse too much more, other than to say I'm really sick and tired of how they
I'll
did
call
it.
bull on that.
No, I probably will, but not tonight. But it is dumb though that you have a team that's almost through April and they haven't played any division games yet. That should never happen. That never should happen.
The Cubs do not play the Cardinals until June 25th.
That's
jeez.
On what planet does that make any sense?
That is so messed up.
Their first division opponent is tomorrow with the Pirates. And they have to go against Keller and Skeens probably.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, lucky me.
Well, hey, everybody likes watching Paul Skeens as long as they're not the team facing him. So, there's been a lot of, there have been a lot of surprises with team like Cincinnati is finally starting to come into their own. They're looking really good, 16-13 so far. But I want to highlight the AL West as well. They have 4 out of 5 teams over 500, and the Angels are at 12-15. They're right under 500. That is a really competitive division so far. Mm-hmm. All the teams have played really well. The Mariners have found offense this year. The Mariners, they've scored 138 runs so far, guys. That's more than the Mets, although I don't think that's updated after today's blowout, but still, that's fantastic because that's always the problem the Mariners have is they can't score runs.
Yeah, they've always started off slow, and it'll be interesting to see how they do depending on how long he's out. But Gilbert's on the 15-day IL already. That happened on Friday or Saturday, so it'd be interesting to see how that shakes out.
Yeah,
the Mets are at 137 after today because it looks like everything else is updated. Like their win is updated. The streak last 10. So runs scored is 137. You have 135 for the Giants. You have 138 for the Mariners, and then 165 for the Yankees. And then you have this other team from Chicago that is just lighting it up offensively. The Cubbies are at 172 runs scored.
Yeah, they've been nuts. And then, do you guys know who's leading the NL in RBIs right now? It's not who you would guess, but try.
I saw it, but I forget who it is now.
It's Wilmer Flores.
Wow.
Okay.
Talk about another. I didn't have that one on my bingo card. Who would have thought Wilmer Flores was going to lead the NL in RBIs? Now, Alonso's only one behind him, but holy crap.
Once he got out of the toxic environment in Queens, I think things had a chance of getting better for him. That's for sure.
Well, and he is the reason the Giants are playing so well.
Yeah.
The number 2 player on the Giants in RBIs, it's tied between Matt Chapman and Jung-Hoo Lee, and they both have 16.
Yeah.
Talk about a one-man team right now. So,
yeah, really.
So yeah, I mean, it's been, it's always an exciting start to the year. The season is, something I have to I feel like I have to preach patience every year, but this year I really have had to preach patience with myself after Atlanta's horrific start. And no team other than right now, I would say the Rockies, and the White Sox are out of the division race. Those three teams are out of the division race. We can definitely say that. But, for everybody else, it's a long season. Strap in and enjoy it. That's what we love about baseball. It's a marathon.
Yep.
It's not a sprint.
Absolutely.
Not all right, let's move it on here, guys. In probably the least surprising move coming out of New York over the past weekend, Devin Williams has been demoted from the closer role after he has been absolutely, utterly ineffective so far. He has appeared in 10 games, thrown 8 innings, an 11.25 ERA. He somehow does have 4 saves and only has 1 blown save, but he has been pitching some of the worst he has ever had in his entire career. He's at a negative 0.8 WAR, which is honestly kind of impressive for a reliever to get that low after a month, especially in the closing role. So Devin Williams was demoted, and we'll see if the Yankees make this a long demotion, or if it's just like hey, we're going to give you a week or two at setup, see if you can clear your head, and then move you back. They haven't really. They're playing it a little cagey, and I can't necessarily say I blame them.
Yeah. FYI, he did have a good outing tonight. I had the Yankees Orioles game on here tonight. Orioles did end up winning 4-3, and he had a pretty good 8th inning, I think it was.
That's good. All right.
Or, I'm sorry. I said the Yankees won. Orioles won 4-3.
Yes,
Orioles won 4-3. But Devin did pitch a good 8th inning.
That's good. All right. And then the Nationals, as Jason alluded to earlier, pulled off a rare 3-6 triple play against the Mets, although replay showed that the ball did pretty clearly hit the ground. But MLB rules prevented that play from being reviewed. Why? That's a great question, guys. Has anybody heard a good reason for why that play wasn't reviewable? Is it because of all the other outs that were called afterwards, or why wasn't it reviewable?
No idea.
I don't remember what it was. For some reason I feel like it's the I don't know if reviewing a trapped ball is a thing. I don't know that they can review a trapped ball.
Could be that. That's the only thing that makes any semblance of sense with that situation.
Yeah, I
do have a very fun and interesting stat, strange but true. It was retweeted by Jason Stark. Jesse Winker lined out to Nathaniel Lowe into a triple play for that. It was Jesse Winker to Nathaniel Lowe.
Mm-hmm.
On April 20th, 2022, the Rangers visited the Mariners, and Jesse Winker lined out to Nathaniel Lowe into a triple play. So he has lined out. So Jesse Winker has lined into 2 triple plays, both of which were done by Nathaniel Lowe.
Wow.
Can't make this up. You just can't make this up.
That's why baseball's great. That folks, that right there is why baseball's great.
Yep.
All right. Now I'm going to sit back, sip on some cider, and listen to the two of you tear each other apart like 2 cats in a burlap sack after this series this past weekend. Go ahead.
There's no animosity here. I mean,
no.
Damn it.
The better, more consistent team won this weekend. The better offensive team won this weekend. The better starting pitching won this weekend. It's just the way it is. I think There's a lot of question marks around Ben Brown now with whether he should be a starter, whether he should be in the bullpen. The problem with that situation is that you have Steele out for the year. Assad in AAA pulled his oblique again. And Wicks, they've had him in a bullpen role. So you don't have an option right now to do anything with that situation. So, they're kind of stuck until they make some other moves as a club. And that's, unfortunately, Ben Brown he's really good for 2-3 innings. And then after that, the gloves just come off, and it's disappointing, obviously. But the better team won each game.
And it's not like the games, aside from the middle game of this series, the games were all close. I mean, the Cubs had a 4-0 win to start the series.
Mhm.
And that was with, Rhea he went 5 and only gave up 3 hits. They the bullpen scattered a couple hits the rest of the way. They pitched well. And actually in that game also, I do think I have to give Taijuan Walker some kudos, because this season he's been pitching really well as the starter, while Ranger Suarez is rehabbing, and it sounds like Ranger should be back at some point this week. I mean, they've been letting him go like 3, 4, at most 5 innings, because again, after once or partway through the lineup a second time, that's when the wheels start to fall off. I mean, he went 3 innings, gave up 2 runs, but I mean, after that, the Cubs just had a really good first game there. And then game 2 was that 10-4 win that Joe was talking about, how Brown pitched. And Brown, he started out fine. And then the 4th inning, wheels just completely fell off. He was, the first time through the lineup, it looked like Brown was getting everything down into the zone. Like a sinker was sinking, the pitches that were supposed to drop off the table were dropping off the table. And then the 4th inning, they were no longer dropping off the table. They were sitting right there in the middle of the plate. Like there were a couple swings and a couple drives that, if that wind wasn't blowing in the way it was from left field, they were gone. That also hurt Ian Happ in the beginning of the game. There was a ball that he crushed that ball should have been up to the rooftops. And instead it was like 30 feet in from the fence and foul. So, I mean, you take away that 4th inning from Brown and you're looking at a 4-4 game. So, I mean, it's not that the Cubbies played badly. They had one rough start. I mean, and then game 3, you had a great pitcher's duel. It's unfortunate for Joe that you got good Nola. Instead of the 0-5 giving up a meatball every inning and a third Nola. And then that's the one time that I think that we saw the Cubs defense really slack, was in that 10th inning last night. Granted, the pitching put them in that position with, what was it, 3 walks, 4 walks total, something like that in the 10th inning.
Yeah, three walks, I think.
I mean, the sac fly is going to happen at times, but on a ground ball to third with Trey Turner running, you don't take a couple steps back, and you don't, when you get the ball in your, and when you get your ball in the glove, you don't take a couple more steps forward while you smack the ball in the glove before you throw it.
Yeah,
you have to attack that ball, get it in your hands, and get it out of that glove.
You do that against catchers not named JT Realmuto.
Right.
Like, If you're going to play hot corner, you got to be aggressive. You can't lollygag over there, and you especially can't lollygag with one of the fastest players in the game running up the first.
I mean, and it's not like that. The play was even close.
No.
Like
No.
Turner was like 3 feet past the base when the ball got there.
Yeah.
So
that to me is the most frustrating part of that entire game last night. I mean, Nola looked amazing, like you expect him to look, or hope he looks, I guess you could say.
Yeah, he was vintage Nola.
He was excellent last night.
Yeah.
And I think the Brujan nonsense, and then Council with the thank you, Captain Obvious bullshit after the game.
Yeah, that was.
I'm just like, as an organization, I don't understand how you can go from KB, and don't get me wrong, I had my issues with KB toward the end of his tenure in Chicago, but they weren't on the defensive side of the ball, they were on offense. You haven't had a legit third baseman since KB left. And up until Michael Bush, you didn't have a legit first baseman since Rizzo was gone. Like, I just don't understand.
If only there was a free agent third baseman available this offseason.
Oh, and you bet the farm, to put it mildly, on Matt Shaw, which again, are the tools there? Yeah, the tools are there. Defensively, he's fantastic. Offensively, can't hit shit. And they put him down to Iowa, and he can't hit shit there either. So, I'm all for giving guys an opportunity, but good Lord, man. Like, there were plenty of options in the last 2 years. There are 2 or 3 free agents that they lost out on in the last 3 years that make no sense to me. Like, you miss out on Xander because he could have played third, or Rafi. You miss out on Chapman last year. You miss out on Bregman again, and it's not because the dollar amount is wrong. It's the AAV. Like, how can you do that? Like, how the heck is a 22-year-old supposed to kick ass when he's got to be perfect? That's impossible. It's an impossible ask, and it's really stupid of this organization. It's just really, it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to start nicknaming Council Captain Obvious, because it's just, that's what he does in every post game. And I'm just like, yeah. But if it's so obvious, then why didn't we fix that?
Right.
Like, and offensively, outside of Bush, Happ, PCA, Tucker, Seiya at times. Seiya has been awful a lot of the time. Swanson's been awful. Just pathetic, really. And he's supposed to be a fastball hitter, and he takes fastball after fastball near the zone.
Yeah, that fastball he took in the 10th inning last night for what was the second strike. That ball should have been smacked hard. And I mean, and Joe, you have a good point here as far as, like making the plays. If Brujan makes that play and the Cubs get out of the inning, they're down 1 run with a ghost runner on second base and a guy like Jordan Romano coming in, which I missed most of the game because I was out. And when I saw that they're going to extras and then the Phils took a lead, I literally said to other people, I said, please tell me Romano already pitched tonight. Because I knew that if he didn't, he was going to be coming in. And I mean, again, I'll give him his due. He was fantastic. But a 1-run game leaves even less room for error, especially with that ghost runner on base.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that third pitch, I mean, that's in that inner quadrant, like that's in the kill me zone. We talked about this in the group chat last week, that pitches that are left there or pitches that are hung there, major league hitters kill. And I Swanson needs to get out of his head. He is stuck in his head right now. Give him a day off. Tell him to sit in the bench and think about it, because there is no reason to ever take that pitch right there.
No, and it's just ridiculous. It really is. And when you think about the funk that even Seiya is in most of the year, I know he's got 5 home runs, but he's not looked good all of the time. It just, you think about what might have been in the last 5 years with some trades and free agency picks going differently.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like Dansby didn't set himself up for success. He was stuck in a 2-2 count and had to swing at a slider breaking out of the zone that would have caught the edge of the zone. Like, it was going to be a strikeout if he didn't swing.
Yeah.
So he had to swing, and that was never going to be a competitive ball that would give any left fielder other than maybe Kyle Schwarber, because he can't play defense, trouble. Like, Dansby I know he doesn't have options to send him down, and with the money you're paying him, you don't want to send him down, but give him a couple days off. He needs to get out of his head. He's awful right now. He's almost unplayable.
yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's just really disheartening, I think, to just watch it play out the way it's playing out with some of these guys that, like you said, you've got all sorts of money involved in that. And you know, for what I know, Swanson hates taking a day off, but I mean, they've got to do this. And
Yeah.
they've got to do something. You know, and you've got guys like, you know, James Triantos down in AAA who could come up and give, you know, you send someone down and give them a few days off, whatever. But like, it's just ridiculous how they're performing in some facets of the sport. Obviously, they're in first place, so I shouldn't care. But like, at the same time, you know, you're a few things going the wrong way, like some of those other games have gone from being in the middle of the pack or lower.
Yeah.
And
Right.
this team is too damn good to do that.
Yep. Complete
Or
agreement.
should be that good to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked a bit about the free agents they missed out on. And a story from The Athletic came out this weekend. It turns out that in 2019, I guess it was, or 18, Harper wanted to go to the Cubs. Like, it was one of the teams he wanted to actively go to. And like, they didn't. Like, they were number one team on his list, Harper told The Athletic before the series started this weekend. They never engaged with him. Not once.
Wow.
Now, there are a couple of things like where I can kind of understand slightly, I guess. But like, you know, they were not even halfway through the Hayward deal, which obviously was hamstringing them at the time. You know,
Yeah.
obviously, you know, the core three that, you know, outside of Wilson were angling for where they were going to go next. But you had the core of the championship team still there. And a bat like that would have been ridiculous. Would have made a ton of difference.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, you know, they went from Hayward to Seiya, who can't play the field at all.
No, he can't.
And now you've got Tucker, obviously, which so far is working out, but the fact that trade didn't come with an extension is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't get that at all.
Yeah.
And when you go through, when you have an arbitration fight in the offseason with the guy you just traded for, that doesn't play well. So to me, there's a lot to just shake your head at when it comes with this organization, and it's just yeah they're doing great, but like there's a lot of room for improvement.
I just have to say thank you, Cubbies. I appreciate it.
That and offering PCA only $75 million. Great start to extension talks there. Joe, do you remember who your starting center fielder was back in 2019?
It wasn't Fowler yet. It still wasn't. No.
No, Fowler.
Shit. Whoever it was, Harper or someone else would have been better. So
Harper would have been a significant improvement over Albert Almora.
Yeah,
who
Almora was a fan favorite, but wasn't all-star level by any means.
No, 236, 271, 381 ain't gonna get it done.
No, I mean. Like I said, I realized there were some guys at the end of deals there, but it just seems ridiculous.
Yeah. To not even have a talk is insane, because Harper might have even taken, if that's where he really wanted to go, the team might have been able to talk him out of some of the money, or had a slightly different deal structure than what Philadelphia signed him to. Yeah. You never know when a player wants to go one place, they're sometimes willing to make concessions. So to not even have a talk is that's stupid.
Sorry, the Cubs Phillies talk turned into a rant. I apologize.
That's all right.
All good.
If we're known for anything on Dollar Dogs and Beer, it's that occasionally we just get our teeth bitten into a rant. We have to run with it. It's cathartic. All right, let's move on to the let's hit the hot list. Jason, why don't you? It's your first hot list of the year, so why don't you lead it off? Who's your hitter?
All right, so my hitter. I need to pull up my thing here just so I have it. Joe, shall I let you have your guy or
you
what?
Can have him.
All right, I'm gonna go with PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong.
Yeah.
This past week, I was torn between a few. I mean, like. I won't go over them. If you don't touch on either of these guys, I'll mention them. But PCA this past week, 2 home runs, 9 RBI, 4 stolen bases, and a 421 batting average, 421 on base percentage, 842 slugging, and a 1.263 OPS. So great week for PCA.
Joe, who's
four of his 5 homers this year are against the Dodgers. Unfortunately, we're done playing them.
Oh man, Joe, who's your hot hitter of the week?
I'm gonna go with Andy Pages from the Dodgers. Slash line of 650, 650, 1250, and an OPS of 1900.
Jesus.
5 runs on 13 hits. 3 doubles, 3 homers, 6 RBIs, a strikeout, and a stolen base.
That's wow. That's stupid. All right. I'm going to keep trying throughout this year to highlight guys that we don't normally highlight. And the guy I'm going to highlight is one who's actually helped spark Atlanta's offense to wake the hell back up and play baseball. Eli White, who came into this year with 5 career home runs. It just went over, I think, 6 or 7 seasons. He's not a power hitter. Over the past week, he slashed 313, 353, 813. He scored 7 runs, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, 5 hits, 2 doubles, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Very impressed by what we've seen out of Eli White, and I hope that Snit's smart and keeps playing the hot hand and just keeps throwing him back out there. We found out earlier today Kelnick got optioned down to AAA, and Eddie Rosario got re-signed because Atlanta has a love love fest of Eddie Rosario because apparently it's still 2021. They apparently forgot he sucked every year since then. So we'll see how that goes. Joe, Moneyball.
Before we get too far here, there's
sorry,
a couple
Jason.
other names that I really wanted to highlight here. Jordan Beck of the Rockies. The Rockies don't have a whole lot going for them, but Jordan Beck this week, 389 average, and he had 5 home runs, 6 RBI, 1.2 slugging, 1.6 OPS.
It's a pity nobody else got on base to help out the guy who's trying to single-handedly carry the damn team.
Right. And then
RBIs.
We also didn't touch base at all tonight yet on this, but Eugenio Suarez with his 4 home run game is pretty amazing.
And they still lost.
They still lost. But then Jorge Polanco was absolutely on fire last week. He had a 471 batting average, a 550 on base percentage for a 1.294 slugging, 1.844 OPS. So, yeah, definitely wanted to highlight a couple of those players there.
That's a great week for all of those guys. That's just wild. And the crazy thing is with Eugenio Suarez, the only other times that's happened, it's only happened one other time in the modern era. Atlanta Braves, Bob Horner, he hit 4 home runs and the Braves lost that game. And then before that, it was Ed Delahanty of the Phillies. And I think it was something like 1895 when that happened. So we've had all of these perfect games. We've had all of these triple plays, assisted and unassisted. Only 3 times has the player hit 4 home runs and their team still lost. That's a crazy stat.
Yeah.
It's one of those stats that makes baseball great. All right, Jason, your hot pitcher of the week.
Hot pitcher of the week.
You didn't do Moneyball.
I'm sorry. We didn't do Moneyball. Jesus.
You should go back to it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, go ahead, Joe. Moneyball, please. Shut me up.
Yeah, shit, man. Lars Nootbaar from the Cardinals, 421, 560, 632, OPS of 1192, 6 runs, 8 hits, a double, a homer, 6 RBIs, 6 walks, 5 strikeouts, a stolen base, and caught stealing 1 time as well.
Wow. Yeah, that's a great week too. Holy crap. All right, Jason, pitchers.
I gave the whole squad props earlier, so I'm going to do it now as well. Tyler McGill of the Mets, 11 2/3 innings pitched, got a win out of this. Big thing for me here, 19 strikeouts.
Yeah.
And only gave up 4 hits and 3 earned runs. 5 walks, which isn't great, but those strikeouts really stood out to me as far as based off of only having 11 2/3 innings this week.
Yeah. Who's your hot pitcher, Joe?
Jeez. You know what? I'm going to do a reliever for this one
Okay.
because there's going to be a better adulting reliever
All right.
than this one. But Pete Fairbanks from the Tampa Bay Rays, 4 games this week, a 1-0 record. So he had a win on top of 3 saves and 3 opportunities, 3 2/3 innings, 1 hit, no runs, a walk, 2 strikeouts, a whip of .55, 0.83 batting average against.
Wow. Yeah, that's a great week. For me, it's going to be Hunter Brown. Sorry, Joe. 2-0, 13 innings, 18 strikeouts, a very nice .69 ERA and a .85 whip. 1 run, 9 hits, 2 walks. That's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, if one of you didn't bring him up, I was gonna give him a mention there as well. So
no way I could avoid the chance to say nice on a .69 ERA, dude. Come on, that was an easy one.
Fair.
Low hanging fruit.
One other one I think too that deserves mention. Joe Ryan had himself a game the other day. for the Twins.
Yeah.
1-0 in the one start, 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, a walk, and 11 strikeouts. Like,
Yeah,
ridiculous.
that was a ridiculous start. He was untouchable almost that game. It was I saw the highlights afterwards, and that was wicked, nasty stuff he was throwing. Joe, who is the adulting reliever of the week?
It's Andres Munoz from the Seattle Mariners. 3 appearances, 3 for 3 in save opportunities, 3 innings pitched, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. The whip was a .33 and no hits, so zeros on batting average.
That's filthy.
That's
Holy
fantastic.
hell.
That made the difference between him and Fairbanks. That was insane.
You know, when those are the 2 best relievers of the week, holy crap. So, yeah, I don't blame you for giving shout out to 2 relievers this week. That's insane. We'll skip hot teams this week. We kind of touched on that already when we did the April wrap. So hot teams will come back starting next week, and that's going to be it for us tonight. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, the next MLB City Connect jersey that's revealed will hopefully be palatable, since most of them this year have not been quite so palatable. One thought, we did mention it before, but I don't think Jason was on that episode. I really wish the Rockies would keep last year's City Connects and just put them in the regular rotation and get rid of one of the other uniforms that they have, because they were really sharp, especially when they got rid of the green pants and went to white pants. All right, guys. So you can see the podcast live on Facebook, also after the fact on Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, anywhere else podcasts are there. We're up there. Live, we're on YouTube as well as Facebook. Merchandise is at redbubble.com. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/$dogsandbeer. We are presented by Dark Arrow Podcast LLC and sponsored by Baron Barbershop over in Manheim. Guys, may your dogs always cost $1. May your beer always be cold. We'll see you next week.